Story 1. Attempt gift swapping? Get humiliated.
Today was my nephew's 13th birthday, and was the day I finally got back at my SIL for her antics. SIL has had a habit of swapping name tags on the gifts with her cheap, last-minute finds, since the gifts were opened when the extended guests had left. She had been successful with a gift I sent over when I was out of town and couldn't attend my nephew's birthday a few years ago, and thought she might try to pull her usual trick. So, I got my neighbor in on this, gave him a box with bright yellow wrapping, and asked him to brag about how he got lucky in finding this super rare Star Wars Lego set while SIL stood near, knowing the gifts will be opened later, when Head had left. As expected, SIL decided to generously help set up the gifts and the decorations. I caught her eyeing the box with the yellow wrapping, and before long, she accidentally knocked over a few, quickly swapping the tags. After the party, nephew eagerly tore into the presents. The look on SIL's face made me wish we had some reality TV cameras set up for this. When nephew opened the box with the bright yellow wrapping with her name on it, out came a few packs of cigarettes and a box of contraceptives, with a post-it note reading, HB. You're a man now. SIL was speechless, and so were the rest of the family. She tried to play it off as a prank, and that she wanted nephew to be prepared for adulthood. She was red as a ripe tomato the rest of the night.
Comment 1. I would write directly on the paper, can't change that.
Comment 2. If you ever do this again, include nothing but a piece of paper that says I have been swapping gifts with people for years and have never actually bought anything of value.
Comment 3. I wish I could see her face in that moment. Smiley face. I'm proud of you, OP. I'm also wondering what hers actually would have been. Comment 4. That is fabulous. Caught red-handed. Hope this makes her think about this day before ever switching tags skein. Your neighbor is a wonderful co-conspirator. Comment 5. What a piece of work. That's all. I am sure when someone from out of town sends gift, the swap is easy. In the past, why haven't the true gifters ever stood up for themselves? I didn't buy that. I bought that. Comment 6. That is a brilliant prank and way of getting back at her. And I'm sure there is still mileage in to do it again. Suggestions that could be used for the next time could include pink doll, a cheap musical recorder instrument, a feather duster, a cheapskate handbook.
Story 2. Found out my BF cheated on me the same day his grandma died, so I kicked him out.
My BF and I were at my parents' house for Christmas one year. We stayed for 2 weeks. It was 2 days before New Year's Eve when his grandma was in hospice. I stayed by his side, did everything for him. I held him when he cried. When we came back home, he got the call that his grandma has passed away, and I held on to him for an hour. Later that night around 11 p.m. I got a message from a random Facebook account telling me he was cheating on me along with screenshots. I asked to see his phone and sure enough he was cheating on me with his ex and a bunch of random girls on Instagram, Hangouts and Skype. He was also sexting my best friend. He tried to tell me those were old pictures, but my mom's blanket and the back of my head was in one of the D-pics he sent. So I grabbed him and threw him outside and told him he can find his own way home. He went on to ask me how I could do this the same day his grandma died, so I replied with, how could you do this after 3 years of being together? I threw his phone into the snow and locked him out. I made his ass sleep outside in 12F weather. I didn't give a frick what happened to him. I spent the night with the blinds open and cuddled up into a bunch of blankets and knocked on the window about every hour just to spite him. I learned that night to never do wifely duties for a boyfriend. He has a coat on and we had a blanket out there for a stray cat so he wasn't too miserable. Edit, y'all act like he went outside bare naked. The fight lasted up until around 3 a.m. in the morning. My dad wakes up at 5:30 a.m. My BF wasn't outside for 8 hours. I gave him his leather jacket and his coat. He was wearing sweatpants and a shirt underneath the jacket. I knocked in the window at about an hour mark and then again around 5-ish am. My dad woke up and his morning routine is to take the dogs outside, which is when he was my BF, and brought him inside.
Comment 1. I would say he slept outside like a dog, but dogs are way more loyal.
Comment 2. That guy has some serious mental health issues. Comment 3. Judge Lynn Toller from Divorce Court said something similar. Don't do wife duties at girlfriend prices. You deserved way better than that slut bucket.
Comment 4. If you had his phone, you should have texted all those other girls telling them he is cheating on all of them too, then thrown his phone in the snow. Did he ever find his way back home with his tail between his legs? Comment 5. Did you tell him he's the reason his GMA died and she's rolling in her grave from disappointment?
Comment 6. Are you still with this guy? Assuming you are not, you did nothing wrong and your response to his cheating was relatively modest.
Story 3. Scared my old bully at Scream Fest.
So it's not great, but it felt pretty satisfying at the time. SIL. In my old high school, I was called a psycho and was known as the psychotic crazy bitch. There were a group of boys that would torment me for everything. It made my high school life feel like hell. In September, I started college and largely forgot about the boys that tormented me. I do a performing arts course and we had to get some work experience in this area. I went through all the workshops for Screamfest and ended up working there for Halloween. It was an incredible experience and I will be working there again this year. Anyway, I'd been working there for around 3 weeks and on this particular day I was in an attraction called Creed Farm. Part of this attraction was a maze with scarecrows, which were people dressed up, covered in straw so people wouldn't suspect them. I was a blood-covered cannibal. Due to the fake cuts and blood, you couldn't really tell it was me. I was around 3 hours in and one of the boys that tormented me from high school was walking through my attraction with his friends. I instantly recognized him and I was the person that would be scaring that group. I scared the life out of him like I was meant to, but that's not the satisfying bit. I called out his name. He didn't recognize me and started stuttering and asking his friends if I overheard them call him so I'd know his name. I then shouted out his last name, to which I got a very frightened reaction. Him and all his friends were very creeped out, but then he recognized me and said, "Oh, hi Molly, my name." He then proceeded to tell his friends that we went to high school together and he was talking about how psychotic I am and how I'm crazy. So, I started laughing crazily, as my character, and started singing "You missed the psycho's after you." I then chased him still in my character, so I wasn't breaking any rules. I hadn't broken out my character at all through the interaction, and I chased him all through the maze. He started screaming like a little girl and his mates were laughing at him, saying how much of a pussy he is. I chased him out the maze and he never came back in. Haven't heard from him since. Edit, I am 16F, he is 17M.
Comment 1. Damn. I'd say this was a perfect revenge. Not funny though. It was freaking hilarious.
Comment 2. No, that wasn't great. It was spectacular.
Comment 3. Wonder if that bully is still running.
Comment 4. What are you talking about? Not great. You got a bully back the best way. Psychologically. Fantastic. Comment 5. Not great? You humiliated him in front of all his mates. Comment 6. Glorious, I applaud you, Padawan. I kinda hope he peed a little. *Q evil witch cackle from fellow freak.